You know, ladies and gentlemen, they say that cyber is power, and that the coming terrain in which the battles of the future will be fought are going to be in cyberspace. As someone who runs a number of websites, I'm all too familiar with what hackers try to do and what viruses can do, and malware and spyware and all those things. I'm very familiar with that. And as a person who runs a number of very busy websites covering issues that relatively few people dare to trot into the territory thereof, I can assure you that the problem with cyber is not the teenage punks. It's not those teenage punks, folks. It's not those guys up in Seattle on energy drinks playing Fortnite, okay? I can tell you who we got to worry about with the cyber issue, folks. It's the ones who pull the strings at the Kabuki Theater stage. Alright? Now, we're being primed. We're being primed by the latest developments to begin to acclimate to cyber insecurity becoming somewhat of a norm in this country. And today's developments at the federal level are just an inkling of what we can expect. You see, this morning we have the As the World Turns episode with Nancy Get Close to Me and Trump, Trump with his phony baloney, Twitter bombs and everything. This is all a big joke, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing more than a diversion, and I'm warning you that what is coming is going to be not a complete takedown of our infrastructure, but a series of death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak, to what we consider our daily lives. Now, one of my favorite stores to shop at happens to be at the Goodwill. It's a thrift store where you can get stuff for 10 cents on the dollar, and you get to support a charity while you're doing it, right? Well, I noticed that the credit card machine was taking an inordinate amount of time, and I was sitting there and I had to be at a soccer field within a matter of about 10 minutes. And although it's a small and inconvenient little thing to sit there and watch the little wheel turn on the screen at the cash register, I got a feeling of what it would be like if they decided to, let's just say, enter the cyberspace of the IBM systems that are running that chain of retail establishments. And it's not hard to do. You know, I can go into my website and go inside there, and if I change one line of code, it screws everything up. That's right. One line of code screws everything up. Now, we are entering into a period of massive technological dependency, whereby when you go to the store, not only is the cash register dependent upon internet connectivity, a lot of the refrigeration systems are all on timers. The delivery systems, all the logistics are computerized. I mean, we don't have people with clipboards walking around and people punching buttons on cash registers. If the power goes out or the internet goes down or some aspect of it goes down, you can't get that steak in the freezer, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't going to be given to you because card's not going to work. Okay? That's how it is. And that's what we can come to expect. Now, I'm at a traffic light right now that's flashing red, and I cannot believe how these people act like animals and don't even let somebody come through it and don't wait their turn. And the problem is, that's what's going to happen when we have a situation where, let's just say they want to, and when I say they, it could be anybody, really, if they want to take down the traffic lights. I mean, I just got delayed by about 40 seconds here because it's a very, very uncrowded intersection, but everybody's going every which way. Can you imagine if the traffic signal synchronization went out in Orange County at rush hour? Millions of people driving around. It would be a disaster. They've got us right where they want us with this technology. They're almost at the point where they've got us where they'll never be able to let us go with this 5G coming in. Everyone is signing up for cell phones. I drive by these welfare booths for the free cell phones for everybody. Everybody's connected to a matrix that is a glass house, ladies and gentlemen. And there are people across the ocean with gigantic slingshots with plenty of stones. And they know just where to shoot them, folks. The next 9/11 is going to be cyber, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think you're going to see controlled demolitions, and I don't think you're going to see, you know, fake media images over and over being portrayed on the teleprompter screens and such forth. I think the next big event is going to be cyber, and they've gotten us acclimated to the term. They're getting us acclimated to the hacking. They're getting us acclimated to the potential for disruptions. And I'm not saying it's going to be a national power grid down situation. That's not going to work. Because tell me how good their surveillance network's going to work when the power's out everywhere. There'll be isolated pockets of this. And then they'll get us to accept draconian military action against somebody that probably had nothing to do with anything, and the whole time it's the Wizard of Oz, if you know what I'm saying. So what do we do about what we face, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we cannot just accept at face value that the boogeyman that they tell us is behind everything, and we cannot get behind having our military getting behind bombing a country back to the Stone Age because a plant in the White House, a plant in the State Department, a plant in the Defense Department tells us that we got to go murder a bunch of innocent people that had nothing to do with something that just happened, like happened after 9/11. And make no mistake, folks, the people that were involved in 9/11 did not get bombed, okay? The Iraqis had nothing to do with 9/11, folks. The Iraqis had no weapons of mass destruction. Rumsfeld and Bush admitted that. And yet Iraq got bombed back to the Stone Age. Can you imagine if you turned on your tap and nothing came out? Can you imagine if you plugged in your hair dryer, ladies, and nothing came out? Can you imagine if you went to the grocery store, ladies, and there was nothing on the shelf? Can you imagine if your 95-year-old diabetic mother went to the pharmacy and there was no insulin? Can you imagine if you drove down the street and the bridge was blown to smithereens? Can you imagine if you drove down the street and there were tanks everywhere with foreign nationals with machine guns in camouflage, yanking everybody out of their car and beating people up? Can you imagine having to stand in line for 5 to 6 to 10 hours for a bottle of water? Can you imagine going to bed with nothing to feed your children? Can you imagine giving birth to a child with part of its brain growing outside of its head? Can you imagine having depleted uranium sprayed all over your nation? Can you imagine having leaflets dropped out of helicopters of propaganda and lies? Can you imagine what it would have been like to be out herding goats, and then all of a sudden they round you up, and then they take you off to Guantanamo Bay and hook you up to battery chargers connected to your rectum when you didn't do anything. Now, I'm not downplaying terrorism, folks, because there are real terrorists, and they engage in action that is the lowest of the low. Let me tell you something. The shedding of innocent blood is an abomination to God, and He will recompense. Don't kid yourself, folks. The murderers are going to pay for what they've done. There's no question about it. Not maybe in this life, because the murderers are generally psychopathic mind control experts that always have you focusing on somebody else as being the problem. That's how they operate. The goal of this video is to get you thinking about the potential impact of cyber attacks on this nation, on your province, parish, county, city, and what you can do to survive it. The first vulnerability that we have in terms of our infrastructure is the water treatment and delivery systems of municipalities and local water districts. These processes are highly automated, highly computerized, with back doors that have been broken open and pried open and nailed open by people that are trained to do it from across the sea, folks. You need to be prepared to be without water. The electrical generating systems and the transmission systems, the substations, all of these places are highly computerized, highly automated. They are vulnerable. You need to be prepared to go without electricity. And as a result of that fact, it's highly unlikely that trucks are going to be able to get through gridlock, and refrigeration units in grocery stores won't be in operation, so it's highly unlikely trucks that are stuck in gridlock are going to deliver to stores that have no refrigeration, so you have to have food. The next 9/11 is going to be cyber, folks. That's right. You need to be prepared for disruptions that could last for months, because what they have planned is a staged outbreak of disease that is actually going to be caused by radio frequency exposure, probably from the 5G systems. And in the midst of all this chaos, they're going to force you to line up to get your supplies, and you're going to have to take a vaccine. Cyber is power. Look up who said that. I believe it was Benjamin Netanyahu. And Israel's behind 5G, folks. That man knows what he's talking about. He knows that the real domain of power is in cyberspace. And as a consequence, as a nation surrounded by enemies on all four corners, the nation of Israel has developed one of the most sophisticated cyber intelligence and cyber hacking groups in the world. They are probably the most technologically advanced society on the face of the earth. Whereas the United States has wide open borders, has people roaming around the streets and driving cars with fake IDs with their matricula cards coming in from foreign countries. And, you know, we've got, you know, substations with a 5-foot fence around them. Nobody's guarding them. We've got all this vulnerable infrastructure, and everybody's running around with fake IDs in the United States because the government wants this place because of Trump. He doesn't want to deport 11 million people that don't belong here. He wants to make all of us get a biometric ID, or ID 2020. He wants to get all of us in the system, and he won't do a damn thing about the fact that the vaccines have not been tested for mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, or impairment of fertility, and he's still going to make us get them. He's done nothing to repeal or do away with any of these state level vaccine mandates that are basically assault on its citizenry, because they're forcing a weapon into the bloodstreams of innocent people. Listen, folks, cyber is power, and right now, guess what? It's Cyber Monday every day. You can go online and get everything you need to survive, all right? You can go online and order storable food. You can go online and get water filters. You can go online and get water storage barrels. You can go online and get ammunition. You can go to the gun store and get yourself some good guns to defend yourself. You can go online to order your vitamins. You can go online. You can order everything you want online. Cyber is power, so use it while you can, folks. That's my point. Use the cyber power that's available to us right now. Order the extra set of snow boots and thermals and knives and hand warmers and UGG boots and you know flood the eBay and the auction sites. Stay away from Amazon. Don't do business with Amazon, folks. Do not do business with Amazon. All right. Amazon, in my opinion, is another arm of the devil. But anyway, you know, if cyber is power, right now we got access to it. You know, make sure that you don't have any Wi-Fi so they can't hack into your computers in your house. Don't buy any smart appliances so they can start making stuff run backwards, because they can't. Get rid of your smart meter so they can't, you know, tie in and start accessing everything. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you want to make a Fort Knox out of your house. Well, guess what? You don't have the Golden Gate Bridge with 50 on-ramps into your bedroom. That's what Wi-Fi is. All right, Wi-Fi is basically a backdoor for anybody that wants to dial up and have a peek, okay? It's like a set of Venetian blinds the size of a movie screen in a theater that everybody can peek through. It lets everybody in, folks. No notification. Yeah, that's all right. The video will get out there. The video's going to get out. The truth's going to get out. We've got the truth on our side. This information will carry its own weight, folks. But you got to be prepared for a disruption. And they could blame some EMP attack by some rogue nation. That's their plan, so they can go carpet bomb another country and steal the minerals and the inorganic metals they need to make the computer chips and stuff. That's kind of probably where we're heading next. But don't fall for it. Everything is a rigged job, folks. The whole world's a stage, okay? Everything you see on TV with Pelosi and Trump and Mueller, it's all to get you. Look, the government is run by criminals, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, look at these people. I mean, just forget that you know anything about them and just look at them, okay? You know, politics is not Hollywood for ugly people, folks, although that's what it's called. Politics is the repository for Satan's seed, ladies and gentlemen. And these people, they're evil. I mean, look what they're doing to this country. This country is being gutted like a fat hog and set up for collapse. And the borders are wide open. We got 11 million people that they're telling us are here that don't belong here, that are sucking us dry. You know these guys, these illegals that detail cars, and you know, they work these jobs, and they're hitting the massage parlors, and their girlfriends are getting pregnant and having these anchor babies, and getting on the welfare, and then filling up the low-income housing and taking all the jobs and filling up the emergency rooms. And you know, I don't know how many, you know, what is it, $100 billion a year they're costing California, and we got potholes everywhere. But here's the thing, folks. The scary part of that is that we got a bunch of people here that we don't know who they are, and they're walking around everywhere, and they're driving around everywhere, and you know, it's hilarious. I know people that live in these, you know, these $5-10 million houses, and they're in these gated communities, right? And they think they're safe, and the freaking gardener's got the keys to the gate. It's hilarious. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh. You know, you spend all this money on a house, you go dump $5 million on some gated house, and you got some guard at the gate, and then the guy shows up in this the slam Toyota pickup with flat leaf springs, the trash cans, and lawnmowers in the back, and he's got a couple of guys in the car with bandanas on, and yep, in they go. Real secure, huh, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, and they got lots of Wi-Fi and all their accoutrements, so they're just as much in the same mix as we are, folks. Look, just be prepared. It's an old Boy Scout motto I learned years ago. Be prepared. You know, that was probably one of the best things I learned from being a Boy Scout. Great people taught me when I was younger, and I still have that pocket knife. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough for this morning. Everything is within our reach to make better and improve while we have the chance and the opportunity. Please do not waste your time on idle, ridiculous, stupid, useless, mindless, repetitious, nonsensical garbage like watch television and watch movies and spend hours and hours, you know, escaping into some reality that doesn't exist. I would like all of you, all of my listeners, to get right with God, get close to God, get to know Jesus Christ, and understand the real threats we face. And there are real solutions. I'm not going to tell you that there's no hope, because there's tons of hope, folks. You get born again, you turn away from sin, you read the Bible, and love and forgive. That's a great quote. That's exactly what Jesus Christ is all about. All right? And it is the wisdom that will come from all the aforementioned that will help you deal with the perilous times ahead. We've had perilous times for thousands of years on earth, and they're going to continue. But there are those of us that will continue to survive and prosper and have families, and our children will have children, and their children will have children, and on it goes. And then we will all see each other again in eternity in paradise. Okay? That's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. And we've all got to help each other. And I'm just giving you common sense advice to prepare. You know, when 9/11 happened, the nation was paralyzed, the stock market crashed, the put options went bingo, and some people made a lot of money because they knew it was coming, so they baked a cake. I'm telling you what's coming right now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's coming. It's coming. You watch the news, it's all theatrically planned, while they give you the 1-2 punch with the Kabuki Theater on Pennsylvania Avenue with these, you know, these makeup monsters and you know, one of Trump's twins or body doubles in the White House, you know, with all this fake nonsense about arguing for this and arguing for that. In the meantime, this place is filling up like a whiskey jug at a cantina with a bunch of people that don't belong here. We are in a situation that we are in control of, ladies and gentlemen, because all of us have disposable income to go out and buy buckets and oxygen absorbers and dried beans and bottled water and Band-Aids and you know, sombreros and you know, knives and bullets and guns and water filters and firewood and propane tanks and thermal underwear and you know, extra medication, pain relievers, all the things you need. Let's just put it this way, folks. Everything you buy at the store, double it up. And if it's not perishable, triple it up, quadruple it up, folks. And instead of going to Starbucks and supporting that kinky company that's into all this weird stuff, and spending $8 on a fracchiabi macchiato that's put another 25 inches on your waistline, go out and buy sacks of beans, sacks of rice, put them in buckets with oxygen absorbers, keep them somewhere cool, and put a lid on them. You get a bucket at Home Depot for $2, $1.50 for a lid. And just get ready to get down to basics, folks. All right? Learn how to dehydrate things and learn how to preserve things, learn how to jar things. It's dirt cheap, and it's a good activity. And learn how to grow things. And just learn how to be a human being again instead of a Pavlovian trained rat ready for the slaughter. Okay? All right, I'm going to go, folks. I'm going to go. And I hope this weekend, folks, if you do go to a church, that it's legit. All right? I do. And all the Kabuki Theater means nothing, folks. All right? all the kabuki theater means nothing, because I'm gonna make a statement real quick here, and I want you to understand something. For every step forward they show us on the television, it's 2 steps back in reality. So if we have a little victory on the episode of As the World Turns, like we did this morning, get ready for a 1-2 punch upside the head with something that's going to be a problem, and that's what I'm telling you they did. All right, we had an arrest today, and now we got the cyber attacks. It's coming. All right, get ready, get right, or get left. Those are the facts.